Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And folks, today we have a very special guest. If you are familiar with Twitter bots, the spread of misinformation, and the complete and utter shit show that has been Twitter of late, then you will definitely appreciate my next guest. Hang on. There we go. This tech entrepreneur has been designing and computer programming since age 9 and recently launched Spoutible, a Twitter rival to make Elon quake in his boots. Uh, this guy is no stranger to uncovering accounts that engage in online targeted harassment and has made a name for himself as the founder of the platform Bot Sentinel. And as you see the picture here, he is no stranger to torching those bots online. In fact, he's so fancy that his name is trashed by haters, and his good work has been mentioned by a prince, Prince Harry. And as a side project, he crunched the numbers and accurately predicted that the red wave would be nothing more than a drizzle. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming my guest today, developer and CEO of Spoutible, Christopher Bouzy.
Hey, Brooklyn Dad. That's like one of the best intros ever, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Is it Bouzy?
Yes, you got it. You got it right. You one of the few people that actually able to get it the first time.
It's only 5 letters, 2 syllables. How can I mess up? Right.
How's
Now,
it going?
it's going great. It's busy, exciting things are happening. I'm going to see one of my adult sons this weekend that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm excited about that. He's a scientist,
Awesome.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Oh, that's awesome.
indeed, proud papa right here. Proud papa.
Should be.
Now,
That's good.
here's what I want to know. Right off the bat, are you able to use your data crunching abilities to predict the outcomes of sporting events?
I mean, I never tried. You probably could do it, but that's a whole different beast. Um, for me, when it comes to like politics and stuff like that and elections, it's just something that I love. So because I love it, it's not like work or anything like that. It's just like, hey, I want to once again crunch these numbers and see if I can accurately predict the outcome of some of these elections. But I'm not a huge sports person, so for me, when you know
Could
politics
have
is
made some. You could have made some money on the Super Bowl there. Although
oh
the outcome, I don't know if you watched it, but the
yeah, I
outcome
did.
was very much in doubt up until the last minute of the game.
Certain sporting events like the Super Bowl, like how can you miss it? The commercials, the game, and it was a good game. It really was, and I did think actually that the Eagles were going to win, and I was also shocked to see the Chiefs pull it out.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Chiefs all the way. Um,
Okay, cool.
yeah, so I was glad
Glad
they
that.
won. But let me ask you another question about coding or
Mhm.
programming or whether did you really start programming at the age of 9 with a Mattel Aquarius? Is that
Yeah, it's true. And the family members who are still alive that can tell the story. Yeah. So
this is not a Mattel Aquarius, right? This is Speak and Spell.
no, that's speaking spell right there. Another classic. No, the Mattel Aquarius was this computer system that Mattel had you know produced. It didn't really do that well. If my memory serves me correctly, it was like discontinued months after they launched it. But my mom worked for a telecommunications company, and she worked with computers. She wasn't a programmer or anything like that, but she saw where computers were going. And
Mm.
I grew up in a tough neighborhood. I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn,
Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah. So
Hmm.
my mom, she wanted to make sure that first thing that I would not become a statistic, but two, that where she saw that where the computers were going, that hopefully one day I can be involved in computers in some shape or form or fashion. So she got me this Mattel Aquarius computer, and in the beginning, I really wasn't into it. I got to be honest with you. It's not until I think it was the Daily News. It was the New York Daily News on Sundays. They used to have snippets of code, and they had code for the Mattel, because the Mattel the programming language called Basic, and it was like the form of Basic, and they had a snippet of code, and I just said, "What the heck?" And I just started entering the stuff in, and I kind of got it wrong, and then got it right, and then I was able to make a ball bounce around on the screen.
Hmm.
Nothing high end or anything like that, high level, I should say, and that's when I had my that's when I started to really actually like it, because I was just like, oh, this is cool. So the story is true. Yeah, I started at 9, and then I want to say, like, when I was about maybe 13ish, around there, that's when I really started getting serious about it. Going to the library, getting books, going to like Radio Shack, stuff like that. But you know, the internet still wasn't really a thing at that time. I mean, it was invented, but we didn't have access to it. So,
90s? Are you a kid from the 90s, or
well, I
when were
was
you
born in
born?
75. I was born in 75.
Oh
Grew up in the
shit. Okay.
80s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's when
You're an
you
old
tell,
head like me.
yeah. Well, I don't. I'm still pretty young. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm still pretty young. No, but when you tell people that, they thinking I'm sitting there like with a white lab coat on, doing this genius stuff. It's just that I had a mother who, thank God, cared about my future, and she wanted to try to provide me with the tools to succeed. And so by her doing that, that started my love for coding.
Now, you've said in the past, if creating software were my first love, politics would be my lifelong secret crush.
Hmm.
And that your mother and grandmother, similar to my mom and my grandmother, discuss politics at mealtimes.
Yep.
What makes you most politically engaged these days? What gets you going?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, look, I think with everything that's happening in our society and our world, not to be politically engaged in this moment in time, to me it's like, how can you not be? So living through 2016 to now, every year is just something different. In terms
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
you know this, right? It's just like every year is just like, okay, what the heck is happening? So and now with the Republicans having control over the House, and seeing the chaos that's ensuing there, and folks still sleeping on Biden, thinking this guy is this old geezer who doesn't know what's happening around him, and don't understand that this guy is a political genius. He really is.
Keep
Uh,
underestimating him. Just go ahead,
yeah,
keep underestimating. Yeah.
and they shouldn't, because and I think he uses that to his advantage, because when they underestimate him, and then just like at the State of the Union, it's
Mhm.
a pure example of his ability to control a room in a way that not too many politicians could. And he took a moment that someone who could have been a lesser politician may not have been able to flip that around, and use that against the folks that were heckling him. So yeah, so politics for me, it's like the sporting event. It really is. And
Mhm.
when we have like midterms or presidential elections and things like that, like I get excited about it.
Indeed. Okay. All right. If you guys are just joining us, I'm here with Chris Bouzy, the CEO of Bot Sentinel, as well as a new
Spoutible.
social media platform, uh, Spoutible. And please remember to hit the subscribe button and like this video. It helps the algorithm, whatever the YouTube algorithm is, it helps me to bring more content like this your way. Okay, so let's see what's my next topic here is okay. Um It is Bot Sentinel, actually. And this first tweet here, you said, we published our report on the coordinated hate campaign targeting Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. We illustrate the conspiracy and we believe it is the most comprehensive and damning report on this topic. Did you use Bot Sentinel for this report?
Yeah, I mean, we use our tech and obviously other tools to determine that there were a small number of accounts that was making up a lot of the hate and vitriol that was on Twitter. And I talked about this unfortunately extensively over the last year and some change. And it's unfortunate that you have folks on social media who spend all day, all night, attacking folks. I'm sorry, my earpiece is coming out, but
I see. Yeah.
attacking folks. And Harry and Meghan were one of many targets that we've looked at. And you know, it's unfortunate that a woman falls in love with a man. She's a woman of color, and
Hmm.
there are folks out there who, for whatever reason, don't like that and decided, hey, you know what, we're going to make an example out of her, and started pretty much attacking her from the beginning. But what blew my mind as we were going through this stuff and looking at the data, um, that her half sister, was involved in some of the attacks.
Mm.
Um, create yeah, I mean, creating accounts and putting out all types of conspiracy theories about her sister. But yeah, we used to tech to look at these various accounts, and we published a report, and then we published two reports after that, and that's pretty much when the vitriol and the hate started being directed towards me. Looked at QAnon in the past, MAGA stuff, and
Hmm.
you had people who would attack and things like that, but it really got insane when you did the Harry and Meghan stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, would you mind? My understanding is that Bot Sentinel is like a Twitter analytics platform, and it has access to Twitter APIs in order to track disinformation and harassment. Am I close to
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I mean, yeah, you could pretty much. I mean, our tech could be adapted for anything, and we're using it now for Spoutible. But yes, excuse me. When I originally launched the platform, it was predominantly about Twitter, and using Twitter's API to track accounts that would be deemed problematic, disruptive. Um, Looking at mis and disinformation, targeted harassment, abuse, things of that nature. Um, and yeah, and I mean, and just over the years, it just grew, and it became really popular with folks who are on Twitter, especially like politics Twitter and political Twitter, and folks who are like into news and things like that. A lot of those folks used the platform and our extensions and things like that.
What started you on the path to creating a thing like Bot Sentinel? Like that's d- why.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2016. It was the 2016 election. Right during the 2016 election. I mean, we all saw the inauthentic accounts. We all witnessed the mis and disinformation. I just didn't think that it would possibly affect an election. I just said, hey, this is crazy. What, you would tweet something about maybe Hillary, or you would post a video, or they would post a video, and you would just see all these negative comments. And it was just like, wow. So, after the 2016 election, and we started to find out that, you know, Russia was playing a significant role in that mis and disinformation, I thought it would be great to launch a platform that would help
Hmm.
people kind of discern from, what's real and what's fake. Because the one thing that was happening, and I think you may have remembered after the 2016 election, people started calling each other bots and stuff like that. You're a bot, you're a
Still,
bot. Yeah, and it
they
still
still
happens.
do. Yeah.
It still happens. So I wanted something that can help folks, be able to navigate the waters on Twitter, and that's how that all came about.
Chris, let me ask you another question. I'm guilty of that. Honestly, I'm guilty of having called people bots. And what I've seen myself when I call somebody a bot, it's very specific. Either it's like somebody with like 3 followers, and they've got like 9 digits in their username, and like they've only been on Twitter for a week, but somehow they have 5,000 tweets in that one week. I
Right,
assume that that's a bot, but can you give a better description of
right.
what is a bot?
So before I get into that, so the whole number thing, because that's been a thing for a while now. When you create a Twitter account and you don't select the username, a handle, they just give you a bunch of numbers, whatever, a bunch of numbers. But it's true that a lot of the inauthentic accounts, they just don't take their time. It's just like, all right, we're going to create this account, and they'll have a bunch of numbers. But going back to your original question, so a bot, definition of a bot basically is a automated account, an account that is, operated by some piece of code somewhere that is, making it do whatever, reply to you, send out, a whole bunch of tweets and things like that. A lot of these accounts that we encounter are actually human controlled accounts. Inauthentic accounts is, the term that we use. They could be located somewhere in St. Petersburg. They can be in China somewhere. I mean, they could be anywhere in the world, basically. And, they try to pretend as if they are here in the United States. I'm a Democrat or Republican, or I'm a black person or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just put out a bunch of crap. So, even though the company is called Bot Signal, we like to classify them as quote unquote inauthentic accounts. But the terminology bot, because of news outlets, it just stuck. So any account that's acting fishy, people just automatically call them bots or whatever. But yeah, a lot of the accounts that we encounter on Twitter, and especially if someone like yourself who's high profile, and you get accounts that come in and swarm and say crazy stuff, more than likely they are human controlled accounts.
Does
Um,
your platform allow people not only to identify um, bots, but also does it help them? Like, let's say I go to Bot Sentinel. Is there a command that you guys can remove bots from my followers? Is that a thing?
So we do have tools to help you in terms of like, so let's say, you're a high profile person, you're getting a lot of folks that are coming into your feed and leaving crazy comments. You can use our auto blocker, and what that will do is, it will analyze who's replying to you, and if they have a certain bot civil score, so whether they're rated disruptive or problematic, if you set those filters, they will automatically be blocked. Their comments will be hidden. Um, but
Through Bot Sentinel?
yeah, through Bot Signal. You just connect
And what
your
do you call
account.
that again? Auto blocker?
It's the auto blocker. But the cool thing about the auto blocker is you can also set filters based on keywords. You can set filters based on how old the account is. So if an account was just recently created, and you don't want recently created accounts for whatever reason, responding to you, replying to you, you can block those accounts as well.
Now, recently, I'm sure you've heard. I'm not sure if it was Elon's doing. It must have been. There's something where he's not going to give access to the API anymore. Is that how does
Well,
that affect you?
Well, it does affect everyone actually. So apparently he's going to charge $100 for like the basic level, which I'm still not entirely sure what that is. And then it goes up from there. I mean, we're going to do our best to obviously keep the platform running. So if the fees are not too high, then we're just going to pay them because there's just a lot of people who depend on Botsill, researchers, just everyday users. But the goal now is to start to transition, get people off of Twitter onto Spoutible, because then all these tools that we have are baked in. You can't. I mean, you can try to troll on Spoutible, but we have so many safeguards in place. It makes it almost nearly impossible to do it.
All right, I'm gonna be getting to
Yeah,
Spoutable very very soon because I'm chomping at the bit to learn
yeah,
about more. I have specific questions I want to ask you, but before I do, all right, I came across this. Did you actually do a bot sentinel audit of the Trump account and found him 100% problematic, or
yeah.
is
No,
this a
it's
meme?
true. It's true. No, it's true. But what was happening with Trump? So Trump account, it was really glitchy. And we had difficulty with that particular account. And even we reached out to Twitter. His score would just bounce around a lot. It would go from satisfactory to 100% problematic, and then a week later, it's back down again. So it was just based on the API. His account was just weird. But yeah, it's true. It did rate him at 100% at one point.
That's wild. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I'm going to shift gears onto your election prognostication because
Okay.
it was kind of random. I knew you as this tech guy, right?
Mhm.
Um, for Bot Sentinel, and then all of a sudden, I was seeing your predictions popping up, and everybody's talking about Chris Bouzy is like predicting the midterms here. I got a tweet from me here analyzing the data for the remaining House races and trying to forecast what will happen based on remaining votes. Historical data and educated assumptions is difficult at best. But I have spent the past 24 hours trying to do it, and I predict Democrats will win with 220. Now, we know already by now that you were off by a bit,
Yeah.
but it's nothing like what the Republicans were talking about a red wave. And you
Right.
accurately predicted that there was not going to be a red wave. So that's kind of a win.
Well, no, there were some wins there though, but the house thing, unfortunately, because of of New York and the gerrymandering, across the country, it did make it difficult with the House. The Senate, I had predicted that not only the Democrats would hold the Senate, but they would gain 2 seats. They ended up gaining 1 seat, and they came
Mhm.
really close to getting the other seat. Where there were folks that were saying that the Republicans were going to get 5 seats and all this other stuff. So when I had said that yes, we'll hold the Senate, gain 2 seats and hold the House before the election started, people were they just were just coming at me and saying I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. There's a red wave. You know, you're going to look like a fool on election night and all this other stuff. That didn't happen. And it took a while for us to really know what was going to happen in the House when the votes were being counted. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the outcome, and definitely in the next election, it will be a hell of a lot more accurate because now, you know, we had the census, we had redistricting, we had a whole bunch of stuff that was happening. But you said that it was random. Honestly, I was doing this. No, seriously, from right after the 2016 election. Once again, because you had so many professionals that were saying, Hillary was going to win by this and that, and
Oh
everyone
yeah.
got it wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone got it wrong, and I was just like, how is it that so many people got it wrong? So then that's when I really started getting into doing that. And it was just a side hobby. It's not my profession or anything like that. And then
Most people who pick up hobbies, they're like all about fishing or bowling. You're like, no, I want to
no,
dive into like these pounds of data. That's
because I know it's really nerdy, but it's for me, it's just like, okay, you're seeing this data, and you think that this is going to happen, and now you want to know if it's really going to happen or not. And you know, Doug Jones, I accurately predicted that.
mm,
Connor Lamb in 2020 with Warnock and Ossoff. So many folks were like, "There's just no way," and yada yada yada. I'm like, not only both of them going to win, I actually gave the margin to where they were both was spot on. I swear, if you look back at my tweets, you will see that. So a lot of my followers already knew that I had a history of doing this, but for somehow with this election here, it just like spread like wildfire. So yeah.
and then I read somewhere, I can't remember where I read this, but I read that like that your bot sentinel is like is able to learn language. Like have you, I guess you've already taught it Portuguese, right? Is that right?
It taught itself Portuguese, actually.
Fucking crazy.
I know that's crazy. Yeah, it was trained. It was actually trained for English, and somehow a bunch of folks in Brazil started using Bot Signal because they were tweeting in Portuguese and also in English, and they have a huge disinformation problem. And as we're pulling this data in and retraining stuff, a lot of the Portuguese, tweets that had Portuguese were also included with it, and it just started being able to, identify accounts that were from Brazil that were not authentic, and
Were
that
you
just happened.
surprised? Were you surprised
Yeah,
by that?
absolutely. I talked about this a few times in the past. Yeah, absolutely. It was not by design. It was just like a mistake, but it ended up working really well. And I'm happy about that because like I said, Brazil has a huge mis and disinformation problem. And if you ever on quote unquote Brazilian Twitter, you would see these fake accounts that are just going around and just spreading all types of crazy stuff. So yeah, it was cool that our tool really helped with this election, but other stuff as well. And even
Yeah, you apparently also called the Brazilian election.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I got a good track record. I do pat myself on the back on that one. Yes, I predicted who's going to win, and I was within the margin of error on that in terms of the I was off like by like I think I can't remember now, but it was like half a point or something like that. I predicted the margin of what the win was going to be. Even before they had the runoff, I knew that Barcelona wasn't going to win. Just you know, when you're looking at this data and stuff like that, you can get a pretty good sense of where things are going.
Hmm.
With the House here in the United States, I'm sorry, my son is in the background. You may hear him. Um, he is whoosh. Yeah, he's three and some change,
Oh,
and
that's a great age.
he's getting his voice, and he runs around, and it's just like wow. But yeah, so house races, like I try to explain to folks, they're like obviously little mini elections, but you can have a house race in a state that, let's say, it's like completely blue or mostly blue, but that one district, for whatever reason, is a red district within this blue state. So it's like predicting all these different elections throughout the country and trying to get an accurate number of what's going to happen. So at times it is difficult. And then when you factor in, once again, gerrymandering, the census, and all that other stuff, you know, I I am proud of the fact that I came close. I wish I was, I wish I had, had the exact number or whatever, because then I can really have bragging rights. But I do think the next time I'll be spot on.
I'm curious to see what you come up with in 2024 in that election.
Yeah, well, I can say this, and this is just not based on, this is not based on data, and this is just my gut assumption here.
It's a tough. First of all, before you say anything else, there are like something like 24 seats that have to be defended by Democrats
Mhm.
in that election. You know that, right?
Right.
Like,
So it is an uphill battle, right? But let me just say this. Part of quote unquote predicting stuff is not just looking at data, it's also just using common sense, right? Democrats, contrary to what you've been hearing, Democrats do have an advantage. They have an incumbent in the office. And
mhm,
there's advantage that comes with that. Unfortunately fortunately for us, the country, but unfortunately for him, Trump, he didn't utilize that in a way that could have really gave him benefits because of all the other craziness that he did. Biden will have the benefit of the incumbency, and so will Senate Democrats. What's going to end up happening, and this is just a gut, assumption here.
mhm.
You're going to have folks in the House that are just going to be completely insane over the next 2 years, and they're going to just be doing stuff that's going to turn people off. And that's going to also carry over into the Senate, whether they like it or not. That's what's going to end up happening. And you're going to have folks, independents who are going to just be so turned off that they're going to just say, you know what, we gave them a chance in the House and they blew it, and we're not going to give them the Senate. So I don't think the Democrats have the uphill battle that everyone thinks they have. I mean, I do think it's still going to be tough, but I do think they're going to have some advantages.
Fingers crossed there.
Yeah, yeah,
Knocking
yeah.
on wood. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go the way everyone thinks it's going to go. Let me just say that. But we'll see.
Um, I want to talk to you about your
Spoutable.
appearance on so first of all, my wife and I were watching the Harry and Meghan thing on Netflix, which, by the way, was pretty damn awesome. Like there was stuff that I didn't know until I watched that special, and it was
Right.
really eye opening. But I was shocked when all of a sudden I became the Leonardo DiCaprio meme pointing at the screen when I saw you. I was like, oh shit, that's Chris Bouzy. I was like, yo, what were you doing on that Netflix? How?
Right.
How?
Yeah. Yeah. So first, I'm really good at keeping secrets. Right. I'm really good at keeping secrets. But no, the production company reached out to me because of the once again because of the report and the work that my company had done, and they asked me if I would want to come on and talk about it. And at first, I honestly didn't even know it was Netflix. They didn't even tell me, and
Hmm.
that's the truth. Yeah, they didn't tell me. And I was just like, no, I don't think I want to do this because I really don't like going in front of the camera and all of that. And I already had done a couple other documentaries, and I'm just like, man, I've done the documentary stuff. And I shared it with someone that this production company reached out, and they want me to talk about the Harry and Meghan thing, and it's like, if Harry and Meghan may be involved in it, then it's more than likely Netflix. I said, you think so? And it's like, yeah. And then I kind of pressed them on it, and they eventually caved in and told me it was Netflix. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Then I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
sure, why not? And it was cool. I got a chance to really, talk about the work and talk about, what was happening. I thought that would be important.
Do you have a personal relationship with either Harry or Meghan?
Yeah, so and that's the biggest conspiracy theory out there, that I know them and all. No,
No.
honestly, I know I never met them. We do have mutuals, only because of just the work that I do, and it's a small world. So we do have mutuals, but
Hmm.
we're not friends. We don't hang out. We're not secretly like hanging out and stuff like that. But I do wish them well, and I do think that the abuse that they've faced, like, I think it should be, it's criminal, but No, we don't. Yeah, there's a conspiracy going around that because I'm currently in a legal battle with this YouTuber. This conspiracy theory. I gotta watch what I say. This person, and you have folks that are literally saying that Harry and Meghan are secretly paying for my attorneys and all this crazy stuff. I wish they were, but
You
no,
wish, right?
like I wish because legal fees are not cheap, but no, they're not.
What is this legal drama?
Oh, I mean, this guy's just it's. And then once again, I got to be careful what I say, but I will say this: that this individual decided to insert himself actually in the whole Harry and Meghan thing, and
Mhm.
he basically filed a I don't know if you know what this is, but a slap lawsuit. So basically, when you say something about someone that they don't particularly like or don't want you to say, they file a defamation lawsuit to try to shut you up. But like I even tweeted earlier, I don't do the silence thing. I don't do the shut up thing. And so yeah, this individual went and filed this crazy lawsuit, and it's being handled. But the trolls and the conspiracy theorists was like, well, how is this guy Bouzy affording the law firm that represents me is called Ballard Spar, and
Mhm.
they also represented Amber Heard. They did her whole appeal thing, and my company also did work about the whole Amber Heard stuff. So
Mm.
then, like, oh, well,
You
maybe Amber Heard.
you're all up in conspiracy central.
Yeah, so it just snowballed. But no, honestly, if I had a relationship with Harry and Meghan, I would say I had a relationship with Harry and Meghan because this stuff always eventually comes out, and we don't.
Folks, if you are just joining us, I am here once again. I'm here with Christopher Bouzy, and this is a really interesting show. And we're just about to jump into the whole um, the whole Twitter versus Spoutible thing. And please remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. You will help tip the algorithm in our favor to begin producing more content like this. All right, so um, let's talk about Spoutible. You just launched this application, this website, I guess, because it's not an app
Not
yet,
really. It's
right?
not an app yet. No, no. Yeah, I mean, Spoutable, how that all came about was actually Elon Musk. We have over 200 and something thousand active users on Bot Signal. And a lot of these folks were upset that he purchased Twitter, felt like Twitter is going to hell. And some of them started reaching out and was like, hey, would you consider launching a platform, or would you consider maybe partnering with Post? And I had took a look at Post, and I was just like, no, we're not going to invest more time and money into trying to help another platform where at any point they can just say, you know what, we don't need you guys help anymore. um, so I decided to go another route. I started listening to those users who were like, why don't you launch your own platform? And my better half even suggested it as well. And she usually kind of like stays out of this stuff, but she was like, you should do it. And I was like, do you know how difficult that is? Not just launching this thing, but maintaining it and all this other stuff. And she was just like, you could do it. So yeah, I started having these conversations with folks, and started reaching out to the community as well to get their input, and just said, what the hell, let's try to do it, let's see what happens. And yeah.
So let me just get this up on the screen here. This is my page on Spoutible,
Cool.
and I noticed recently, I think it was last week, I noticed that I got verified, which is very cool because I didn't have to pay $8 for it. I also noticed that I just noticed last night that you now have dark mode. I don't know how new that is, but I
It was
love it
there
because
from it's there from one day one, but
oh,
yeah.
from Jump Street, it
Yep.
was there.
Yeah.
Because then I was all happy about the dark mode thing. Um, and there's a whole lot of other stuff in there. The interface is clean. Um, you've got bookmarks in there, which I love. I'm actually now I'm unfortunately I'm paying $8 a month to Twitter just for the ability to use bookmarks. And
Wow.
I haven't abandoned it yet because in the back of my head, I believe that somebody is going to supplant Elon Musk and that shit will return to normal. But let me ask
No.
you this: where do you see Twitter in the future? Do you see, is it sustainable at this rate, at this
Twitter's
point?
dead. It's dead. Twitter's gone. What we see now is just the zombie platform is gone. And I'll explain why really quickly. You had a lot of people that left, and that also opened up an opportunity for a lot of these different alternatives to pop up, including Spoutible. You have Post Mastodon, Counter Social, which was there from before, and Mastodon as well. But you have folks that are now looking for the next platform because they're just tired of Twitter. We've seen this before in the past in terms of like a really popular platform that just dies, and MySpace is one example of that. Everyone had a MySpace account. MySpace was supposed to be like the next big thing, and it's going to last forever and whatever, and that didn't happen. Um, so then you also have Facebook, and a lot of folks that were on Facebook ended up, moving off of that platform. So Twitter, it it's one of those platforms, right, where you get a lot of information. It's one of the only, if not the only, platform that moves news cycles.
Mhm.
Um, so that's why so many people love Twitter and stay on Twitter because of that. But what we want to do is change that. What we want to do is get the folks who are on Twitter. I don't know why my earpiece is just acting up today, but get the folks that are on Twitter who love Twitter. Let them see that, hey, you can have the same experience that you have on Twitter on Spoutible, and your followers will follow you to Spoutible. Um, so yeah, and not because we have a competing platform. I said this before we launched. I always said that if Elon purchased Twitter, it's going to go to hell, and then if it goes to hell, it's not going to be able to sustain itself. So they can bring in a new CEO tomorrow, and I still believe Twitter is now it's done for. You can't really have meaningful conversations on there anymore, meaningful interactions, because you get swarmed with all these crazy accounts. If they remove those accounts, because the platform is built on this premise that there's just all this activity, but a lot of that activity is inauthentic, a lot of it.
I saw
So
one of your reports. I believe you said that Twitter. They said that Twitter only had 5% bots. So you believe that it was actually higher, like
that's right.
15%. Is that still
Yeah,
accurate?
yes, and it's probably higher now, because if you noticed when you're on Twitter, and this happens to me a lot, I will tweet something out, and then you have two or three accounts that will reply with just like the craziest gibberish. And this has started, I think, roughly 2 months ago.
Five
Um,
random words, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
swarmed. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you can't engage with folks. You can't really have meaningful interactions when you're dealing with that craziness. So my whole thing with Spoutible was, look, we were not going to launch a platform and just do the same thing everyone else is doing. That we're actually going to care about our users. That we're actually going to put stuff in place to protect our users. We don't care about the number of active users. We don't care about how many page views and all that other stuff. What we care about is people being on our platform and being safe. So we have you know tools that where you can block people and actually block them, not like Twitter. Like if someone you block someone, they can still interact with people in your thread, and this happens to me
Yeah.
all the time. When I
Yeah.
block someone, they start replying to people, replying to me and saying crazy stuff. You can't do that with Spoutable. Once you block, you can't reply to that person. You can't reply to a person replying to that person in their thread. We allow you to delete replies on Spoutable. And we have safeguards in place to prevent, obviously, abuse with that. But if someone replies to you and they say something crazy, you can remove that reply. That's your spout.
Mhm.
And then we also have anti-abuse tools. If you go into the settings, different filters and things like that to protect the user. Uh, yeah.
So, is it the goal of Spoutable to keep out as many trolls or problematic accounts as possible? And is Spoutable able to recognize like a problematic account that had been flagged in Twitter per se? Is it
Yeah, so we are so yes to everything. We are also looking at, and this is something else that other platforms don't do. We are also looking at cross platform targeted harassment, because what ends up happening a lot of times is someone will flee. They'll leave a platform to find refuge somewhere else, and whoever is targeting them will try to follow them to the next platform and do the same thing.
Mhm.
We're not doing anything really that's revolutionary or innovative, to be quite frank. We're just doing what other platforms should have been doing for a long time, is actually moderating the platform and keeping the bad apples off. But you also don't want to create an environment where everything is sterile and everyone are too afraid to say anything. And that's
Right?
not the goal of Spoutable. If you want to come on a platform and curse and share your thoughts, you can do that. We're not anti-cursing. We're not anti, getting back and forth and saying, hey, you know what, I think, this person kind of sucks or whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about targeted harassment. So you can't come on a platform and attack someone because of their gender or their race or, what God they choose to love. If you're
Mhm.
doing stuff like that, you're going to get kicked off. If you are bringing targeted harassment from one platform and we're able to track that harassment from that platform to ours, you're going to get kicked off. Um, but short of that, we want people to engage. That's what's the fun part of Twitter. Seeing people getting dunked on sometime.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to change that part of it.
Then it's not going to be an echo chamber then.
We don't
We're
want
going to
it to
have
be.
some Republicans in on Spoutable.
Absolutely, and we're already starting to see that. We're already starting to see some folks from the right come over and test the waters, and it's totally cool. We're not anti-progressive. We're not anti-far left or far right or whatever. What we were trying to do is prevent folks from doing the crap, unfortunately, that we see on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like I said, we can engage with each other and not agree with each other and have a nice heated debate and go back and forth without doxing and without trying to get 5 or 6 other fake accounts to come in and do the craziness that they're doing. So far so good. I mean, we've launched, I think we've only now had like 70 reports or something like that in total, and a lot of that stuff was just people just not liking something or whatever the case is. Because we just have so many tools in place to protect our users that, like I said, it's going to be tough for someone to come in and just start trolling.
I personally have not had any. I've had zero negative interactions on Spoutable thus far, and I know negative interactions. That's my whole existence on Twitter is like I'm going to say 70%
Yep.
fucking negative. You know, we have Shel Teresa here saying, so far, Spoutable, I haven't needed to block anyone. So far, nothing but decent people. A lot of people like they're saying that it's a nice, clean layout, user UX, UI, UX. Philosophy here wants to know, will it become an app?
Yes, absolutely. The first phase is to get the platform stabilized. When we launched, we were expecting a lot of users. We were not expecting 10,000 users within 8 minutes. So we had some growing pains. We had to rewrite some stuff in the back end, add more servers and things like that to really handle the load. Because I will be honest, the first week and a half or so, it was super slow, and that's because it was just so many people that wanted to try it and wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
So we fixed those. We fixed those issues, and now it's super fast. So now it's about the bugs. A lot of the users are like, "Hey, there's a bug here, there's a bug there." So we're just fixing that stuff. And once we get all that stuff stabilized, then fixed and the platform stabilized, then we're gonna launch our apps.
And how many people do you currently have working at Spoutable?
So there's 7 of us right now, and there's some crossover with Bot Sentinel as well.
Mhm.
But what I'm hoping by the end of March is to actually double that. Moderating a lot of these platforms, a lot of the resources go into moderating the platform. And obviously we're going to have moderators, and we do have a couple now, but um, we're hoping we are not going to need as many as the other platforms because we are providing so many tools to our users that they're not having to depend on us. So
Interesting.
like I said, if I come to your spout and I start spouting craziness at you or whatever, you can remove that reply, block me. You're never going to see that person again. They're never going to be able to interact with your followers as long as those followers are obviously replying to you. They're not going to be able to do that.
Mm.
So by having those tools, that kind of takes the pressure off of us in terms of moderating. But we're still going to obviously you're going to have folks that are going to put up things that need to be taken down, whether it's violence, whether it's hardcore adult stuff or whatever. And then in a few more days, we're going to roll out our technology that identifies, you know, hardcore porn and things like that, and you won't be able to upload that to our servers. So those type of imagery and images and stuff like that won't be allowed.
I just saw this a little while ago. You have logged 733,000 unique visitors to the
Yep,
site.
yep, yep. And
That
it
is
actually, and it actually went up since I tweeted that. But yeah,
that is pretty damn impressive. Um,
2 weeks, 2 weeks and some change. Yeah.
Now, I say it's impressive, not knowing like how these things are supposed to look, like what a
Right.
good number would be. It looks very impressive to me.
Right.
Are you ready to scale up if need be
Y-
to like
y-
10 times the size of that?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. When you launch these platforms, you could say, oh, we're prepared for 1 million concurrent users and things like that. But it's not until people actually start using it and you start digging into the code is when you really start to know, like, yeah, we can do this, or we need to change this piece or that piece. Um, you're correct. To have that many unique visitors in such a short span of time, it's only been 2 weeks, in a few days. Um,
Yeah.
Usually it's a slow roll, and I said this just recently. If we would have launched Spottable 5 months ago or 6 months ago, there's no way in the world we would have gotten that type of traction. The reason why we're getting this traction is because people
Because
are.
Twitter is such a shit show.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So I will be honest to your viewers. It's not. I don't have the magic touch. Spoutable is not the best platform ever built. I'm not going to lie to your followers. Your viewers. What it is Spoutable came at the right time. I launched at the right time, and we just have the right recipe in terms of moderating and all that other stuff. So I think it's just all the right stuff at the right time, basically. But we could have launched Spottable 5 6 months ago, and people would have been like, oh, I'll check it out. But today, people are just like, I want a place where I can go, I can interact, and I can get out of this shit show. And they're coming to Spottable.
Yeah. Timing is everything. Let me
Yep.
ask you this. Um, if Elon Musk were to offer to buy Spoutable,
Nope.
is there an offer he could make that would be impossible for you to refuse?
So I
Think about
know
think
folks.
about what I'm asking
No,
you.
no, I know, and I'm going to tell you as much as I would want to say yes. the answer would be no. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. I built Spoutible because I want folks to have a safe space. And if Elon offered me $2 billion, yeah, man, that's a hell of a lot of money that can change your life forever. And don't think for 1 second I wouldn't think about it. But for me, my legacy now is more important than money. And I know folks are gonna be like, this guy's full of shit, but I'm not. I want to be able to provide something for folks where they can be safe. I've seen too much. I've experienced it. I've seen too much bullying. I've seen too much, targeted harassment where this stuff really affects people's mental health and lives. And if I could provide a place where people can get away from that and have a safe space where they can interact. And like I said, look, I'm not trying to say that Spoutible is a utopia where everyone gets along. We're all not going to get along. But at least we can have these heated debates and not have to worry about the nastiness that comes with it on Twitter. So I'm not going to say that I would never sell Spoutible, but I would sell it to someone that I believe that would carry and carry on what I started and have the same values. That is not Elon Musk. We've seen what he did to Twitter, so I would never put my users through that. I couldn't live with myself if I did that.
Based on the results, the very short term results you've gotten thus far, do you believe that Spoutible can be the final nail in the coffin for Elon Musk's Twitter?
It depends on who joins. I mean, we're getting some high profile folks on the platform, but it really comes down to this: are we going to be able to get news outlets to first come over? Because that's really important. Are we going to get more politicians? We do have some now, but are we going to get more to come over? If we start getting more folks coming over, and doing their cross platform promotions and things like that, then yeah, I do believe that we are going to play a significant role in the demise of Twitter. But it all depends. It all depends on the users and obviously us as well. Like if we're not providing what we said we're going to provide, which is a safe platform, the features that everyone loves. If we, kind of become stale in terms of our development, then no, it's never going to happen. But if we're putting out new features, every few days, if we're able to keep up with the other alternatives and stuff like that, oh hell yeah! Look, one last thing, and I'll, you go to your next question. A lot of folks and I'm not going to say any names, but a lot of the core users of Spoutible have used other platforms, used other alternatives. And I want to say like in the high 90s, they're saying Spoutible is better. Spoutible is giving them that Twitter feel without all the garbage that comes with Twitter.
I used Mastodon and I've used Post. And actually, early on, before Spoutible came on, I was all in with Post. I thought Post was like one thing that I really liked what Post did was the photographs. When you upload a photograph there, the color was like nice and bright and vibrant for some reason. It looked a lot brighter and more saturated than in other platforms. Mastodon seemed a little bit too complicated for me, too quirky. I wasn't crazy about it. And there was another one, can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that other one looked and felt too much like Facebook, and I can't stand Facebook. So,
Right.
um,
I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking
But how can you afford, like, because I just finished asking you about, if you got an offer from Elon, how can you afford to keep Spoutible, keep the lights on at Spoutible without ads?
Oh no, we're gonna have
Um,
ads. We're gonna have
you
ads.
okay?
Yeah. So right now, BotSignal is basically funding Spoutible, and who funds BotSignal is the users. The reason why we didn't want to start off with ads right away is because, quite frankly, the focus was getting the platform up, making sure it works well for folks. And once all of that is taken care of, then we can start rolling out ads. I mean, we already have enough inventory for ads. We have enough traffic for ads. But like I said, right now it's about our users. It's about making a home for them and listening to them and getting that feedback and making things work well. And then we'll turn on the ads, and hopefully we'll do well with that, which we can then pay for servers and personnel and all that other stuff.
Okay. Um, I could sit here. I could literally sit here and ask you like a cajillion more questions, but we clearly don't have time to ask you a cajillion questions. But what we do have to do, and I don't think I mentioned this to you, but part of the vibe for this show, Story Time with BDD, we do what I call the guessing game, right?
Oh.
And our guessing game, it involves different categories that you get to guess, and we'll find out if you're right or wrong. And for instance, oops, we have guess the word, right? So in this one, I'd show you four pictures on the same
Oh man.
page. One is a pigeon, another one's a chicken, another
Okay.
one's a stork, and another one is a duck. And you would have to guess the word that links all those together. And what would you guess?
A pigeon, a duck, zoo. I don't know.
Well, in that instance, you would probably be wrong because I would probably say bird. Bird would be that one word that links all four of those
Oh,
pictures
well,
together.
obviously, well, yeah, obviously they're all
Ah,
birds, but I thought, okay, 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 I see now. Okay,
so that's how
okay,
that game goes, right?
got it,
Then we
got it.
have guess the TV show quote, right? So if I were to say to you, Nanu, Nanu, what would your guess be?
Oh, gosh. Oh God, oh God, I know the show. It's not coming to me. He wore the red suit, the alien. Come,
Yeah.
oh come on.
Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's
Ah,
anyway. That's Mork and Mindy,
Mark
right?
and
That's
Mindy.
Mork,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's what guess that TV show quote. I read off a very popular, famous TV character quote, and you have to guess what it is, who it
Okay.
is. Then there's name that Billy Joel song. One of these days, somebody's going to take me up on this one here. I'm a big Billy Joel fan, and
No,
in
I'm
this,
not.
I would sing the lyrics to one of his songs, and you would have to guess what song that is.
It's not gonna happen.
And last but not least, name that Prince song. Same deal. Sing some lyrics. You have to guess what Prince song it is.
Okay.
So
So I get to choose. I get to pick.
you get to choose.
I'm gonna take the quote. Yeah, I'll take the quote.
Guess that TV show quote.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Now, if you guess correctly, you get the cowbell,
Okay.
and if you guess correctly, you get you get wrong.
Oh man. Okay. Here we go.
First one. No soup for you.
Oh yes, that's easy. Seinfeld, the soup Nazi.
And you are correct, sir. Correct, mundo. Okay. Next question. Oh wait. Yeah, that was the
Okay,
soup Nazi from
there we go.
Seinfeld. Here's the next one. How you doing?
Oh, easy. Friends.
You are two for two. That was Friends. It was Joey from Friends.
Yeah.
This one may be a little bit more challenging.
Let's see.
When you assume you make an ass out of you and me.
Oh, oh man. It's actually a couple shows with that though. I'm stuck on that one. You're right. What is it?
Eh. We were looking for Felix Unger from The Odd Couple.
Oh, yeah, that's a little bit before my time, just a little bit.
Okay. All right. All right. Here's the next one.
Okay.
I am the one who knocks.
Oh, I'm the one who knocks. Why does that sound so familiar? I am the one who knocks. Oh man, I don't know. You gotta tell me this one. Who is
This was Walter White from
that?
Breaking Bad.
Oh, yes.
It was a
Uh,
popular show on
yeah, of
I forget
course.
what AMC, was it the AMC network?
AMC, yeah, AMC Network. Yeah, one of my favorite shows. Oh man, I don't know how I missed that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't worry, you still have a chance to redeem yourself.
yeah. Okay, okay.
This next one, I mean, it's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
It's one banana, Michael. What the heck? Oh man, I suck at this. I, I really suck at this. I don't know. What is it?
We were looking for Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development.
Oh,
It's a
I never
famous.
watched that. I never watched that show. So yeah, there's no way in the world I would have been able to guess that.
Okay. Um,
I'm much better at coding.
All right, let me ask you this. Have you ever watched The Wire?
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. One of my favorite
Here's your
shows.
next question.
Okay,
You come at the king, you best not miss.
we are talking about Omar Little, right?
We are
Yeah,
indeed.
yes. Oh, see, okay, I redeemed myself on that one.
You got the sweet sound of the cowbell.
Uh,
Um,
yeah,
Here's
The
the next
Wire.
one.
Oh, okay.
He's dead, Jim.
He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. Oh, what? Oh man. Give me a little hint.
Uh, ba, 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 da,
Oh,
da.
Star Trek, but who's dead? I don't know, but Star Trek.
He's dead, Jim. That would be Dr.
Oh,
McCoy
Dr. McCoy.
Bones from Star Trek. There was every single episode, one person was dead, and that was his job, was to say, he's dead, Jim.
Oh my goodness, I never knew that. I never knew
Okay,
that. But
here's the
yeah,
last one here. This is for all the marbles.
okay, here we go.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh, come on now. That's easy. That's
Is it?
easy. The Game of Thrones. Easy.
Do you remember who it was?
Say again.
Do you remember who it was?
Um, no.
We're gonna give you credit anyway.
Who is
It
it?
was her name was Ygritte,
Oh
and
shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
She was early on though, but yeah, I remember Ingrid. Um, that was intense. That was intense, man. That yeah.
you did well, my friend. You actually did redeem yourself at the end there. Um, Last but not least,
Okay.
this is a segment that I like to call my favorite things, and
Okay.
there are no wrong answers because they're your favorite things. This is meant to be like a rapid fire thing. I ask, you answer, whatever, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite TV show to binge watch?
Oh man. Um, I would love to say, oh God, because I got two shows, but The Wire.
Ah,
I'm gonna have to
nice
say The
one.
Wire. That's one of my favorite shows of all time.
It is great. Favorite movie about robots?
Oh shit. Um, now your viewers gonna be like, what the hell? But it would have to be Star Wars. Yes, there's robots in Star
Oh
Wars.
yeah,
Yeah,
C3PO and R2D2. Yes, okay.
yeah,
That
yeah,
that that passes.
yeah.
Favorite application that you did not create?
Oh, say that one more. Favorite application that I did not create. Chat GDP. I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that tech is going to revolutionize the world. Yeah, seriously.
Uh,
Yeah.
Here was an interesting answer from that last question. Somebody said RoboCop for favorite movie about a robot.
Mhm.
RoboCop. I don't know if
RoboCop
you
is
can
cool.
see on the screen there. Okay. Most used app on your phone.
Oh God. I still have to say Twitter. Unfortunately, I would love to say Spoutible, but it's still Twitter because Spoutible is
Okay.
technically not an app yet. Unfortunately,
Can you
and I'm not
give
gonna
us an
lie.
can you give
I'm
us
not.
can you give us an estimate when the app will be ready for
Oh,
Spoutable? I seriously, John, yeah,
yeah, a few weeks. It's not going to take long for
that's
us to.
soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We just, like I said, the worst thing we can do is launch an app and the platform is not stabilized and people are like trying to like something. It takes 10 minutes to like something and takes 15 minutes to load, like they're on AOL. So we wanted to make sure things are running smoothly, but now things are running smoothly. Put out an app is not. It's nothing for us to do that.
Wow, that's impressive. And I don't want to get off track too much from your favorite things because you have a few more to
Sure,
answer. But I
sure.
just have to say, what I appreciated about your process was how transparent, like from Jump Street, you brought the users into the process. Like you were asking us, what logo do you like? And you showed a bunch of logos, and so that whole process and telling people what was going on, that was very clever and very cool. I appreciated that.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're not done with that. Just so you know, we got a next phase, and you guys are definitely going to be involved in all of that. But thank you for that.
It's very cool. Favorite source of news?
Twitter.
Really? Still?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, once again, I'm not going to lie, but I'm hoping that that's going to become spoutable. But Twitter is unique in the way that it allows outlets and journalists to break things quickly. Um, so there's certain people that I follow that I will get their alerts. So Twitter, but I'm hoping that we do that with Spoutable. I'm hoping that we can transition those folks over to Spoutable where they're breaking news, at least on both platforms. And then I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
go to if I can get those journalists to come over. I have no reason to go to Twitter anymore.
I
I
tell
try my
you,
best to.
making Spoutable an app will make it a lot easier for me to
Right.
spend more time on Spoutable. Favorite
Totally get
fast
it.
food franchise?
Oh, I would have to say Burger King. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's good.
yeah, Burger King.
Um, Favorite sci-fi movie?
That would have to be Star Wars again. Yeah,
The
Star
first
Wars.
one,
And well, are we talking about if we're talking about a specific one in the series?
specific movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, then oh God, it would actually probably be Rogue One.
Oh,
Um,
that was a good. Wasn't that with Donnie Yen? Is that the one?
yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah, that one there. I think is actually the best, and they don't really try to consider it part of the quote unquote franchise, but I do. Um, I think it was brilliantly done. And it was like the first time we got a chance to really see Darth Vader like really be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite one.
Favorite Twitter account?
Oh, I'm gonna have to pass on that one because no matter what, I'm gonna piss people off, and there's a lot of folks who,
Piss him
I'll
off.
say
Who cares?
your account. I'll say that.
No, aside from mine, you can't say mine.
Oh, come on. Oh man. Oh
The purpose of this
gosh.
question is to enlighten our audience to somebody that maybe they're not already following. You see?
Right, right, right.
Somebody whose tweets you come across and like laugh or think, "Oh, that shit is deep," or you know what I mean?
right, and that's the thing. I There's so many different people that I follow that I really enjoy. And they've actually come over to, a lot of them have come over to Spoutible. I'm gonna have to pass on that one. I'm taking a pass. I'm sorry, I'm passing.
Okay.
I know in the past I'm passing.
All right. Mac or PC?
Oh, PC all the way,
Hmm.
all the way. I
Coke,
cannot.
Co-
Oh, Coke,
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Pepsi's garbage. Coke. And I'll just say this for you folks out there. If you ever, out night, you're drinking and you know you're gonna have a hangover, whatever, drink Coke, and I promise you, you will not have a hangover, or your hangover will be less. If you're feeling dizzy and nauseous, whatever, drink some Coke, you'll feel better. I'm telling you, Coke
My
all the way.
my wife refuses to let me have Coke. She says you clean the toilets with it.
Coke is terrible in terms of the chemicals and stuff, but a lot of the things that we love that are great, that taste good or whatever, is also bad for you. And Coke is both. Hey, I'm a Coke guy all the way. Coke,
All
and,
right.
and not cocaine for you damn trolls out there, because then you'll edit it and say Bouzy was talking about, no, Coca-Cola, not cocaine. But go ahead.
Right.
Right.
Marvel or DC?
Oh, come on. That's like, come on, Marvel. Like, it's Marvel. Marvel.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry, but Marvel's just better.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. Text
Yeah.
message or phone call?
Phone call. I hate text messaging.
Really?
I think text messaging has ruined society. I miss the days. No, I'm serious. I do.
Yeah.
Text messaging definitely ruined dating. Um, I miss the days when we used to get on the phone, and actually talk to each other, and you could,
Yeah.
you had the opportunity to hear what a person was. You can get a vibe from a person by talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really quickly, I had a discussion about, dating a while ago, and somebody who, wasn't having luck at it. And I was like, are you texting a lot with this, people? They're like, yeah. I was like, well, that's the problem right there. I was like, because you're giving the person time to come up with an answer. It's really easy when you're texting people. You could be the greatest woman or the greatest guy in the world because you have time to think of your answer. When you're talking to someone and you're having a conversation, it's a hell of a lot different. So
Yeah.
you can kind of get a vibe for a person. Yeah, I hate texting. I love having conversations with folks.
Very good answer. That's a cool answer. If you could live anywhere on the planet, where would that be?
France, Paris, France to
France.
be exact. Yeah, that's
Okay.
just like that's my speed right there.
I've never been, so I'll
I mean, the
have to
last
take your
thing,
word for it.
Boozy. I mean, come on. There's a town in
Monsieur Bouzy.
there's there's a town in France that's named Boozy. They're known for their
Oh, no
champagne.
shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. If you could do any job for one day, what would that be? And you'd be a pro
Oh,
at it.
oh shit. Oh, whew. Okay. Race car driver. Definitely
Ooh.
race car driver.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Any particular charities or foundations or organizations that are close to your heart or that you support?
Actually, there's a few. But you know, anything that has to do like with children and cancer and things like that. I try to donate to, because uh, contrary to what folks say and things, like, I love killed children. Um, I think it's really important that we protect them.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I try my best to donate to charities, like I said, that have to deal with, like, with children and things like that. But then besides that, and the only reason why I'm not specifically saying the charities, and I'll tell you off camera the reason why I'm not specifically saying them, but I'll just say, and then people can then get guess from there. But also charities that have to deal with like inner city kids and things like that, and providing technology to them, stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's a good one.
As-
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been here with Chris Bouzy. Right here, this is his. It's not only his Twitter handle, it's also his Spoutible handle.
Spoutable handle as well.
In case you want to know, Spoutible, you can follow him here, and there's it's anybody can log in now, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's open to everyone.
Okay. Just go to spoutible.com/cboozy and hit the follow button. Make sure you follow this man and stay stay abreast of his latest and greatest adventures. um,
Yeah, follow me on Spoutable, and come join us. I promise you guys, you're gonna like the platform.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. I mentioned this to you earlier. I don't know if I told the audience. A year ago today, I was interviewing Mary Trump for the show, and I learned the hard way that you need to do a proper audio and video test beforehand because that whole thing was nothing but echoes. So, Chris, thank you for joining me a year later now that I've got my act somewhat together. And I'm excited about what you have to offer the world with Spoutable and whatever else you come up with after.
So thank you, and thank you for having me on. And just I had a I had a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just do me a favor, hang tight there. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to sign off with my viewers here.
Sure.
And folks, thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And if you have not yet gotten your shot, what are you waiting for? Get your shot, protect yourself, protect your family, wear a mask, keep your social distance 6 feet or better, and enjoy the rest of your evening and your week. I mentioned last week that we were going to have Gary Peterson, the guy who is like a satirist with Trump artwork, and that's going to be next week's show. So I hope you join me then. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Hang on.